Tell me when.
You're good.
You got people on?
Yeah.
Who's on? Good morning, by the way. Good to see everybody on this frozen day. Michelle, who we got online?
Bottom Nancy and an observer.
An observer.
Oh,
Secret.
CRA.
The CRA. Oh. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Scott. Wonder why it says observer.
Well, you are. You're a very good observer. So we just have a few people joining and coming in, so we will we'll get going here momentarily, if that's okay. Morning, Nasir.
All right.
Alroy's on, Julie's getting on.
All right, so we got a few more people coming on.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah,
a BMW
everyone's getting
and three, you would have been here on.
I know, I got a great
Train in. Yeah.
says the person.
Everybody has a secret weapon of staying warm in this kind of weather, or layers? Just layer up. Wow.
The holders. Cup holders, I did it, my gloves
Right.
in there.
I'm sorry, but I will say that I'm a bit spoiled. I don't care any vehicle that I get from here on in, it's always gonna have a heated steering wheel.
Yes. That's what I do.
Yeah,
He's laughing at you.
yeah, it's. I'm still driving my 2017 MDX and it's got the heated steering wheel. My one before it had it. First thing I put on is, it's great. So
Remote start. That's what you need.
remote, I have the remote start. I use that too.
Lifesaver.
Yeah, the only thing I need though is with the heated steering wheel, it doesn't actually turn on until you're in the car. It should have been attached to the remote start,
Yeah, because there's a sensor. in the
Right.
stick, and it's
so they just have to fix that. So if anybody knows any car designers, could you get them to fix that for me? So I'd like to be able to do that. So how are we doing, Michelle? Have we got everybody on?
Yeah.
All right, well, good morning again. I know it was just a short notice. We are gonna try and, well, we are gonna do Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, I'm gonna host something. So just to let you know, moving forward, so you can put that into your calendar. I know we were doing some different days before, but I'm gonna host on Wednesdays. And the reason that we're doing this one is our last session, we talked about, I was hearing so much negativity. I don't know about you, but I'm still hearing it. So I want to get you off the stinking thinking. Okay? And because there is so much outside noise, and within our industry, there's a bunch of negative noise. So if you are listening or going into some of these realtor socials where there's a whole bunch of realtors just talking about how the market is, not there, and all the issues and what's going to happen with Trump, what's going to happen with Canada, you got to just put your blinders on. Okay. So one of the things you need to do is you got to make sure when you're waking up and you're getting your feet on the ground to go, that you've got some positive affirmations. I've told you this before. I have them in my bathroom wall. I got them in the bedroom. I got my vision board there. You have to do these things to make sure your mindset is right. Okay. You got to do it you got to do it when you first get up, you got to do it during the day, and you got to do it at night, because your mindset is the only thing that's going to keep you focused. So there is so much negative stuff going on out there, and how you take that positive affirmations. And we are actually now, Michelle's been working on this. You're going to start seeing an affirmation a day on our socials. Okay? That's going to come from us. So you're more than welcome to, one, it's going to be on the socials, it's going to be on the regional socials, it's going to be on the plus socials. So we're going to send out one a day. Okay? If you find one you like, I recommend you post it somewhere where you see it daily. And understand that whatever energy you're putting out, negative or positive, your consumers are gonna feel it. And if it's negative, they will actually find somebody who's positive and deal with them. They're not gonna stop doing a transaction. They're not gonna stop thinking about doing real estate because you're negative. They're just going to find somebody, or somebody who's positive is gonna come into their area and go, and they're gonna go, oh, wait a minute. We've been told all this negative stuff. How come this person is so hyped up on real estate? That's who they're gonna deal with. Okay? So I have a number for you guys. 10,197. Anybody know what that is?
Last year's transactions.
Good guess. Good guess. That is the number of ends that have happened in January already
Oh,
in Ontario. So if you think that no business is happening, 10,000 other agents are doing business. So that's Ontario. Yep. So, yeah, I know there's a lot of realtors in Ontario, but there's business happening. So if you're not getting your portion of it, why not? What are you doing daily? Right? I go back to this, and we sent this out on the last time we were together. It was 10-10-10 daily tracking. This was in what, Michelle, you sent this out last time. Okay. Your goal should be to complete 10 phone calls or face-to-face conversations per day, 10 texts per day, and 10 emails per day to generate continuous business. If you're not doing that, you are not in the business. And if you want to make it 5, make it 5. But if you're not being consistent, you're not going to get the opportunities that 10,000 other agents have already done in January. Okay, so that's why I want to really focus on understanding that there's always going to be negative stuff going on. So you got to get your mindset right. Okay, how you do that, if you need help doing that, well, as I say, we're going to put out the affirmations. If you need more personal accountability, then reach out to us. The other thing is that you need to have a daily tracker, and I don't care if it's 5 days a week. You don't need to work 7, but 5 days a week, you should be doing some kind of tracking to know that the process, you've got to be doing the process. The end result is a transaction. But if you're not doing a consistent process, that's not going to happen, or it's going to happen very slowly. Okay. So if you did not get the 10-10-10 daily tracking from the last thing we sent out, fire off an email to Michelle. You're going to send it out again? Michelle's going to send it out again. But that is so important. You need to track what you're doing daily. It's so easy to waste time in this business. And lots of agents are. Okay. But the ones that are doing business, they're the ones that started 90 days ago. Right? Nancy, are you there? And your dog?
Yep, I'm here, just being mauled by a dog.
I know in when I talked about that last fall, when I said, like, if you need to work these last 90 days to have business in January, February, March, would you mind sharing what you said to me yesterday on the appointments that all of a sudden you're getting?
Oh, I'm getting, well, I had one firm up yesterday. I had a listing appointment yesterday. I have a listing appointment tomorrow, and I have another one at the end of the month. Just because, you know, reach out, keep in touch, follow up.
Right, and that's all stuff that you've been working on because you worked through the last 90 days as well, right?
You know what? And it's also too, like, even if you have nothing to say something. Hey, you know what? I was thinking about you and just letting you know I'm still here, you know, that.
It's having the conversations, it's having the communication, right? I can tell you that the phones and the conversations, the communication, it has increased. I talked to different brokers all over, and doesn't matter which community I've talked to with them in, they're all seeing the momentum shift. There's activity out there. Multiple offers are back. Yeah, this year.
I just had 2 offers yesterday, on Sunday,
Okay,
or sorry, Monday.
Monday.
On London, Ontario, the condo.
Oh, the condo in
8
London. Yeah,
8 days on the market.
yeah.
Priced very well. 4 or 5 showings, so like, to the date.
Yeah.
And, one offer came, another guy was showing it while the offer was happening. He was informed by broker bank. He said, I have a client who's interested too. So 2 offers came, sold for full price,
Yeah,
but wasn't a bidding war.
Nope.
I mean, London is a little bit calmer. But it's sold conditional still.
yeah. But you didn't have an offer date.
No.
No, and this is
That's the
what,
thing, I know it wouldn't work. in this-
certain areas are doing offer dates again, but other areas, when I was talking to the brokers, they're saying what's happened is because of the system, you registered the offer, all of a sudden 2 more offers would come in. There was no offer date. It's just that it seems that the consumers and the agents are all sitting there going, okay, well, I don't want to be first. And all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, there's an offer, right? Oh, well, look, we better do something. So I've heard that happening a lot in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so there is activity. There's stuff going on. But if you're not doing your daily tracking and your daily activities and having those conversations, if you're not out engaging with people, it's not going to happen. Your phone's not going to ring. Okay, this isn't 2021, 2022, where it didn't matter. You had a license, people were phoning, people were looking for stuff. This is real life real estate. This is how business is. There's no, right? There's no magic to it. Yeah, Nancy, got a question?
Yeah, I've had a few people in the last few days ask me, well, when's the right time to list? Because normally up here, we don't list at this time of year. But that seems to be a burning question that I've heard more than once in the last couple of days. When should I list?
Okay, what's the motivational factor from the people that are asking you that?
Well, the listing appointment yesterday, that's a job transfer.
Okay.
The one tomorrow, that's just a moving in with the boyfriend. They're both selling their houses and moving in together. But that one's waterfront. So, I mean, what do I tell her?
Okay, so right now, the reason that we're hearing about multiple offers is because there's an awful lot of people that are waiting for the spring market to list. Okay, so one of the things you have to be cautious of is now there are buyers out there. There will be more inventory come March, April. You'll be in competition if you're looking at selling more in March, April. So I always look at what's the timing. If someone says to me, Scott, I need to be somewhere within 90 days, you got to list now. I have a client of mine I just went to see, they're going, we want to have one more summer at our house before we sell it. Well, okay, so we're going to list it, excuse me, we're going to list it in September. That's what we're going to do. And we're prepping already. They're already starting to redo some stuff in the house. So it really comes down to the individual's timeline. Okay. Yes, there will be waterfront. I know there's buyers out there right now that are, they're basically going, I'm looking for something, because projections are, as interest rates fall, values are increasing. So it's just a matter of if somebody wants to try and beat the idea of values rising, which is, tending, they say, middle of the year to the end of the year, we're going to see appreciation. We're already seeing some of it already. Places that are selling today are actually selling higher than they were 60 days ago. There's already appreciation that's happening. So asking for, when's the best time, it really is an individual's schedule. If If it's an investment property and someone says to me, Scott, when's the best time to sell? You know, I could do it now, I could do it in the spring. I believe we're gonna see within the next 60 days, get rid of some of the cold weather, get a little bit of more balance in what the governments are doing. You're going to see people just relax and go, okay, the world's not coming to an end, everything's okay, and you're gonna see a busy spring. So as a person representing a buyer, I want my buyers out there now. I believe they'll have a better price today than they're gonna pay in May and June. If you're a seller and you're looking at moving up, so you're gonna sell a condo or a townhouse or a semi, and you want to buy a detached, I'd be doing it now. Because the wave of buyers throughout history, at least my career, we always see first-time buyers come into the marketplace earlier in the year. So they come in, they buy the condos, the semis, the towns, and then those people, they move up. So they start buying in their price range. And that's why when you see the momentum of the higher price range, it's usually April, May. So depending on the consumer you're working with, that's the timelines that I've historically seen, at least in my business. Any thoughts out there from anybody else? Who can I pick on that's not talking?
Carol, Roy, Steve,
Okay.
Julia.
So what are you seeing out there right now? And it doesn't matter where, anywhere in Ontario. Like Nasir, you said,
Right, pricing it right, because I have my mom's condo right here.
yep,
Wherever, on the
Okay.
Sherwood Town. Family, they think they know better than me, but that's okay. I had to list it. It's my mom's condo.
right,
579 is worth 520, 540 max.
Okay.
It needs work.
yeah.
It's huge. It's 1,030 square feet.
Okay. So price is important,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And they said, we'll let you know by the end of the month, this month, to either relist at a better price.
Yeah,
And I told them, look what's happening, and you can buy a 2-bedroom for that price
right.
on Enfield Place, one penthouse for 579, all renovated. Wow. 2-bedroom, 2 full baths.
Okay. Pricing is important, but there is already some momentum happening. But price is definitely important. Okay,
Gotham is saying the same things. If price is right, properties sell.
They're selling
Okay.
very quick.
Nancy would like to contribute.
Nancy, go ahead.
I feel like this market, honestly, it's an interesting analogy, but it's like a 69 Mustang at the starting line doing a brake stand. I honestly feel like it's really gonna go. And I mean, as far as the price being right, properties have always sold, doesn't matter what market we're in.
True, absolutely. Absolutely, you're right. And I agree with you. The momentum, we're already sensing it, okay? We're seeing it. We're seeing it through the real estate socials where the realtors are talking about, I've been in multiples, like, is this, I saw a question like, where I'm seeing people holding off offer presentation dates. The media will not pick up on that until probably another 30 days. Because they don't report what happens in January until February. But we see it firsthand. So what are you doing about letting your consumers know that? Okay, like this is where what you put out better be positive stuff. Because if it's negative, as I said earlier, the consumer's just going to come across somebody who's positive and they're going to deal with somebody who's positive. So you got to make sure you're being positive about stuff. You got to know the numbers. Like, did you guys know that there were already 10,000 ends done in January? It took me 3 clicks to find that out. Yep.
We are seeing more showings and offers than usual in Ottawa for January.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve, for that. He basically says that in Ottawa area, way more showings, way more activity for the January. Okay. There are pent up people in 2024. We're all wondering what's going on. And so now I have the clients I spoke to, basically they said, you know what, Scott, we know it's this, we're doing it this time. I've been talking with them for like 4 years. But they said, we're doing it this year. And the reason they're doing it is because their kids, their adult children said, Mom and Dad, house is too big, it's taking too much maintenance. You guys need to move this year. So make sure you're communicating with everybody. Okay, because you don't know who the influencer is. And I know in Rexdale, and I don't know if Tina is, no. So Tina does a lot of business in Rexdale with seniors, right? Well, a lot of times, the person she's communicating with has been living there the long time. Well, it's the kids then. And she found that being able to make sure that the kids see her stuff at the house, consistently, then the kids reach out to her and say, hey, you know what? I know you've been in touch with mom or dad or, a long time, but we're helping them make the move. Can we get together? Right? So you've got to make sure you're communicating with the people that can make the decision or the support people that are going to be there. Okay.
I have a question regarding kids.
Yeah.
I've come across a couple of people, especially one that wants to list. We gave them a CMA. We told them, hey, at the most, maybe 1.4 for this wonderful home.
Okay.
The kids are now involved and like, no, Dad, it's a $2 million home. What are you doing?
Okay.
So how do we get over that? Because now this person is like, well, my kids are telling me it's 1.9, $2 million. I want to list at that. But clearly the CMA is clearly showing 1.4 maybe at the most.
Okay.
What do we do there? My thinking is to get the kids to come sit down with the dad and us and show them again the comparables.
Absolutely. The only thing that you can do is get them in the room together.
Okay.
Right? Or at the point where Mr. Seller, I appreciate that. Would you mind asking your kids to send me a copy of the information that they're using for the pricing? Just so that we can go over it together.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, there may be something that they got information on that I'm not aware of, but for me to be able to say, hey, our information through the MLS system shows this value. So maybe you could ask them to, next time they're over, I'd love to come over and sit down with them and just see where they're getting their valuation from.
I have another thing. So one of my clients long time ago did want a certain price, and I said it's not going to happen. And there was still a good market.
Yeah.
And somebody said, yeah, you'll get it, and they listed it with somebody else. They did get it eventually.
Eventually.
It took a couple of months, but after that, I've learned that I would take an overpriced listing. I would tell them, look, if it doesn't get too much activity within a couple of weeks or 4 weeks, whatever, let's reduce or relist, because they will get another agent will say, yeah, just to get them on paper.
Yes, there are situations where if there's an outside influencer, and that outside influencer is a family member, you will more than likely not win.
So
Okay,
you can give
so,
a reason.
but you could certainly say, hey, if that's what they,
We can try.
we can certainly try it. We can try it, but with the understanding of, what the facts are showing right now is this. But if they want to try this, we'll still do our marketing, we'll still do our, what we do. With the understanding though, if you're going to do that, you got to take a 6-month listing. Okay. And because you want the opportunity of the market catching up to that value, or you want the opportunity of the timeline of the seller, all of a sudden becomes more urgent within 6 months. Okay, because if you only take a 90-day listing on something like that, you're going to lose out, because at the end of 90 days, they're going to go, we got somebody else that's going to take it. But what's happening is the timeline, the motivation of that seller is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And it usually takes about 6 months. Okay.
But that's if they reduce the price later on, or they are set on that price for 6 months.
What happens is within the 6-month period, especially if it's a senior member, there's life happens within 6 months when it comes to seniors. So there will be a motivation factor, and either the market will catch up a little bit, and they may reduce the price, but if you don't have that long-term listing, it's very difficult because they'll look at you at the end of 90 days and the outside influencer is gonna say, Dad,
He's just not doing anything.
we should have used my agent. Right?
That's
So
the
then-
thing. You keep communicating with them every few
Yeah,
weeks. Look, there's
of
no
course,
showing.
right?
It will be priced in
So
July.
if you take an overpriced listing, you gotta take it with time.
And that's my next question, because we have a listing coming up in February. And now that I did some research on that area, first of all, the area is not selling. Based on currently what's happening right now and previous sold prices. Two, they want to list higher than what is being sold in the area. And so how do we broach now that conversation? Because I'm finding it difficult to explain to them what's happening. And I don't want to be leaving something on the table that maybe I could have used to secure the listing, because I don't want to go high. I don't want to price something that is ridiculously high for the area clearly does not support.
Why are they moving?
This one is a job. So they bought up in Grand Valley, but now because of work, they need to be in the office now. It's no longer remote. And so now they have to sell and come to Mississauga.
Okay. So timing wise, what's their drop? What's their last day where they're basically gonna say, I'm gonna do this commute for 90 days, I'm gonna do this commute for another year, I'm gonna do this commute for 60 days. Is it any indication of what they're saying that is?
We'll find out when we go there. We haven't spoken to them, like we haven't presented anything yet.
Okay,
I'm just getting ready because I know and the backstory on this particular house was they listed it back in March of 2024 at a high price, reduced it again, but just little, nothing major. And November was the last listing that they had with an agent and it didn't sell and it's not selling.
so how long they've been in the house?
A long time. I don't know exact
Okay, but they've
time,
been-
but they've been there a while. Yeah.
So first thing I would do is I would go in and ask them how they feel the market is in their neighborhood. Have you seen any sold signs? Have you seen, and because they've been on the market, they're gonna know what's going on,
Yes.
okay? Second thing I would do is instead of jumping in to the listing price right away, because they have been listed, I would ask them to put their buyer's hat on. And I would say to them, we know you've been on the market. So instead of looking at, your property and stuff like that, let's just put on a buyer's hat. So now you're a buyer and you're coming into this community. And let's look at what the opportunities are for a buyer today and how that would compare to your house. And so they get them to start looking at, from the buyer's perspective, what is available for the consumer to buy today. And then I would say to them, so if you were a buyer today, based on what's going on in the neighborhood, what would you pay for your house as a buyer? And then get them, and they make, well, our house is, hey, your house is great, absolutely. But from a buyer, because understand, the reason I'm doing this scenario with you is because when we leave here and we go to the neighborhood you want to buy,
Then it's great deal here too.
we're gonna have your buyer's hat on,
You
Yes.
get a good deal here too.
right?
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
it'll drop.
So, but you've got to get them in that thinking of, right now they're thinking as a soured seller, not a buyer. So get them thinking as a buyer, but I would do it first on their property with the understanding and saying, look, this is what we're gonna be doing. So let's do this on your area first. And then when we go to Mississauga, if that's where they're coming, we're gonna be doing exactly that as a buyer, because we're not just gonna walk into a seller's house and go, oh, that's what they want, so let's look what's going on in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's what I do, that's what I do when I have people that have expired, and I actually say, let's look at it from the buyer's perspective. That's how I would. do
No, that's a good point. Thank you.
it.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions from anybody out there or here? On that scenario, what do you guys do? Any questions, thoughts? No? Okay. You need, I know we talked about it, but you need to make sure the stuff you're putting out is positive. So if you see something that's positive, share it through your socials. Make sure your database gets it. Okay? Because the amount of garbage we're seeing, all that negativity, they're seeing just as much. If not more.
We
Yeah,
ignored some of it because.
Yeah. right? We ignore some of it, but they're seeing, so how confused and unsure do you think they are right now? But there's so much activity, so much opportunity there, and there's activity happening. But that's your job, is to be communicating that. Okay? Yeah.
So the London listing I got, the clients are here in Mississauga that have been texting on WhatsApp regularly. And in some October, November, just around Christmas time, I've been texting them. And then she says, oh, my sister owns a condo in London. She was looking for a realtor there. Would you manage to do it? I said, sure. It's not like I'm so busy here.
Yes.
So I took it. You remember the lockbox situation?
yeah.
I went through the Supra lockbox. That's another story I'm gonna tell you. So whenever you're listing in London, you need a Supra box. You cannot use it, unless it's a house, you can get away with it. But anyway, I went through that learning process again. But that's how I got this listing.
If
And
you're,
she's very pleased, the
Yeah,
client sister.
and if you're not communicating with people, you're not gonna
Yeah,
get
she
that.
would have forgotten.
You're not gonna
You know,
get that
because
referral.
Nasir's local agent, but she knows I
Right.
live on like Niagara, I know the area, so.
You're not gonna get that referral.
And that's a good point, because, you know, some people are like, oh, but Nasir, you're here,
Yeah,
my
you want-
my
in fact, they
sister's
asked me-
there,
they
it's
asked
too
me, would
much,
do
you
it?
know,
Would you manage or
Yeah.
refer an agent to us?
right.
I said, no, I'll handle it myself, and they were so happy.
You
Like, yeah.
have to communicate with people,
Yeah, that's a good
okay?
point.
And that's why this 10-10-10 works. I didn't get this 10-10-10. I didn't create it. This 10-10-10 daily tracking and comes from our office in Saskatoon. Okay? Wayne Zuck is one of the best brokers I know. He puts together a complete training package, and it's all based on 10-10-10. He has 62 agents in his, 72 agents in his office in Saskatoon. Okay? We're in the GTA. His average deals per year, per agent, 24 ends. This works. And that's all they do. So if you don't believe that it won't work, it works. Saskatoon does not have the population that we have. Okay, so there's no excuses where, oh, I don't know that many people. Get out and start talking to people. Okay, so you have to be positive. You have to have a positive mindset. You have to have a detailed daily activity and weekly activity, and you got to track it. You do that, you will do business. You will simply do business. But if you're not communicating with people, it's not going to happen. They're not just because you got a license, they're going to call you up. You have to be doing it. I'm going to share a little story. I've been doing this a long time, right? You have to communicate. We just went down to the broker owner meetings in Arizona last week, or maybe 2 weeks, last week. We're at the carousel in Arizona, waiting for luggage to come off. There's a family, 2 kids, wife, husband, and basically the husband's there waiting for luggage. We're all waiting for the luggage. And I looked over and I said, did you guys come down in the Toronto flight? Yeah, well, so did we. He said, well, what do you come down for? I said, well, we got business meetings going on. You guys come. He says, yeah. He said, we're back and forth. I said, really? I said, what do you mean back and forth? He said, well, we're pretty well getting ready to relocate here. I said, whereabouts from Ontario are you from? Or did you, came from Toronto? Are you guys in the area? He says, yeah, we're just in a little community outside Peterborough. Oh, I said, I know Peterborough. He said, my family had, we got cottages just north of Peterborough on, Potash Lake. And he goes, yeah, I know that lake. Still waiting for the luggage, right? We start talking football. I said, yeah, I said, well, it's also, we're down because, there's a football game on. And so he says, you guys going? I said, no. I said, I'm a Rams fan. He says, oh, he said, my little guy, he's a Green Bay Packers fan. I said, oh, my wife's a Green Bay Packers fan. And she goes, well, I'm a Giants fan. I guess that's not so good there,
No one likes that.
right? And so we just by asking somebody a simple question, I give him my card. I said, look, our head office is here. If you need anything, reach out to me. If I can help you, I said, you got a realtor down here? He said, yeah, we're talking. We've already got somebody. I said, that's fine. But you know what? If anything comes up, here's my card. Reach out to me. If you need help back in Ontario, we've got offices all over Ontario. We can help you. Do you think anything would come out of that?
Yeah. I guarantee, I'm putting money on that one, yeah.
I think it would be.
Okay. 3 days later, I get an email. Hi, Scott. This is Steve from the airport. Don't know if you can help me, but one of the questions that I'm struggling with is I cannot seem to find an accountant that can do Canadian and US returns. Would you happen to know anybody? I said, Steve, you know what? Just so happens, I've had clients that moved from Ontario into the States, worked in the States for 3 years, moved back to Ontario. I'll reach out to them and see if I can get you a couple names, recommendation. He said, that would be phenomenal. So you think it would be easy, right? It is a bitch to try and find accounting firm that will do both, right? And I've got lots of accounting firms. I'm reaching out, so I'm communicating with him. And he says, oh, by the way, go Rams, go. Okay. So I'm still communicating with him. And so I reached out to him. I said, Steve, I've talked to this one person. I've talked to my accountant. He's recommending. I said, look, I will make sure we get you an accountant out there. He said, Scott, that would be phenomenal. I owe you a game of golf. So this is still going on. So I reached out to the president of Realty Executives International, who lives in Scottsdale. I said, Patrick, this is a crazy story. And I went through, this is the guy I met at the airport, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, here's my accountant. I'll let my accountant know, have him reach out to my accountant. So I sent that complete email from the president of International on to Steve from the airport guy. He reaches out, he goes, this is unbelievable service. He said, thank you so much. You guys are so great. I don't know if it's going to turn into a deal anywhere, but you not think that just by asking a simple question, waiting for luggage, could turn into something? I guarantee it will. So, right? So you have no idea when you're standing in line, you have no idea when anywhere, right? It doesn't matter where you are. Start a conversation, start a communication. Okay. And that's all part of tracking, right? Because I know for me to do business, I need to talk to people. I need to communicate. You guys know that I do my poinsettias, right? I put 22 out this year. Personally, I saw 15 of them. The other ones I dropped off. I've had 3 appointments just from doing it. Okay. Every year I do that, I get appointments. So I don't care what you do, you got to do stuff. Stop the stinking thinking, track your numbers. You do your numbers, it's going to happen, right? Yeah.
Percentage of investors are still there in this market.
Okay, investors, okay, there's a couple different investors that when you ask a question, you know, what percentage of investors?
Overall, rental is down.
Okay,
There's a huge inventory in rental market still available.
right,
It's not leased. So in this market, because of this interest rate, mortgage and monthly payment affordability, what do you think? Like, how many investors are still in GTA looking?
okay, right now from new investors or investors that are buying, so 90% of all the new condominiums that were purchased in the last 3-4 years were investors. Okay, and that's coming right from the developers. So that's why right now, a lot of the developers have taken their projects and delayed them because the investor environment is not there. It's very difficult to get 70% of your units sold to end users right away. It's the investors that have been pushing the market. Understand that they were pushing the market based on future appreciation. That's why they were buying the condos. They were looking at flipping them, renting them out, flipping them.
What do you think, like, how many years they have to wait for that position? Compared to now and. next
So the
year?
condominium market, as we've talked about, I think for the next 2.5 years is going to be saturated. 2.5 years from now, there's no new projects that will be starting to be released, but it takes 3 to 5 years for those to come to market. So 2.5 years from now, my prediction in the GTA, you're going to see condo prices rise and rise quickly.
2 years. absolutely.
2 years. Yeah.
There's lots of good deals out there.
But right now, as an investor, I'd be buying now. Okay. And there are smart investors are out already. I've had a few calls. While we were away, the broker owner of our Sudbury office, she had a commercial property that had 2 separate buildings. And when I say 2 separate houses that had commercial zoning. One was, I think, rented out to a hair salon, and the other one was an end user using it. Yeah, she put it on at $729,900, thinking, you know, it's probably where the environment is. Yeah, 4 offers sold for $767,000. All 4 of them were investors. Okay, investors are out. Okay, so it's great opportunity right now if you're looking at buying a condo because the valuations are down. The rents have come down a little bit, but not substantially. Like they 100, 125, $150.
But
Right.
downtown, showing some rentals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some have dropped 300, 400.
Yeah, some of the bigger 2 bedrooms have
Yeah,
definitely
2
come
bedrooms.
down. But the price of the actual condo is much less. Right? In some cases, is Julie on?
Yeah, Julie's here.
Julia? What are you seeing for valuations for condos right now?
To sale or for rent?
Both, actually,
Well,
if you
I
don't.
am seeing the rental rates a little bit lower on the 1 bedrooms.
Okay.
And I've had conversations with people about that. And yes, the resale the valuations are definitely down. They're still down. I actually have someone that wants to sell, and we're gonna wait till spring. And the reason we're waiting to spring is because they need to get through some work in the building that's going to be just way too disruptive, and there was a special assessment to pay for it. So we're letting that work its way out.
Okay.
And nothing's really moving in that particular building. I'm a little concerned because of the price that they're going to get, but they're going to be upsizing.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
So-
they had a pretty high expectation of what their place was worth last year when we started talking about this. We've been waiting for a new contract to come in to give them more buying power. So that's just getting worked out now, but it's way below what he thinks. And so
Right.
you do have to put that hat on. I like how you presented it because that's exactly how I presented it to him. Pretend you're buying this place. Would you pay this for it? No. So.
Right. And so, I was talking to my brother Grant the other day, and he had a client, they lost $50,000 on their condo. On the sale.
Yeah.
The place they bought, they saved 250,000 from what the pricing was back then. So that gap, as we've talked about, right? So upgrading, upgrading right now, and then what Julia is doing with her client, that's the opportunities. You know, that's one of the opportunities I pointed out when we did our last session. And so, but you have to present it in that whole package, right? Yeah, you're gonna get less and you may be on, you know, lower than what you sold for, but where you're moving to, that gap has shrunk. When this market, and this market will change, and all of a sudden people are gonna go like, I should have bought back in 2025. You're going to hear that 2 years from now. Okay, thank you, Julia, for that information. Appreciate that.
I tell a client is if the prices have gone up, down at least, let's say 10%. I just gave them that number. So your home is $500,000, you lost now, so 450. But you're buying a $250,000 or $500,000 property or whatever, million,
Yeah.
10% of that has gone down too. So 10% of $1 million compared to 10% of 50,000, here's your gap.
You have to present the opportunity,
Yeah.
right? And if you're thinking negative about it, you're not going to present it properly, right? So you've got to make sure that you believe the opportunities are there. And they are. Okay? I mean, a lot of agents aren't. And that's why if you are surrounding yourself and all your input is all that negative stuff, unfortunately, all you're going to feel is that negative stuff. Yeah, that's it. There's opportunities everywhere. Okay? There are opportunities to communicate with people that will lead to something when you don't know. But if you're not communicating with anybody, I'm going to guarantee you, you will not do a deal. I'm not a rocket science. I can tell you, if you do not communicate with people, you will not do a deal. Simple. You communicate with people, you do it daily, you make a plan, you have a target on how many people you're communicating with in all the different realms. You know, see them, send them, chat with them, whatever it is, however you run your socials. But you have to have that daily plan. Right? Nathan's sitting in the room here. Nathan, I'm going to, you started doing this,
Yes,
right? What kind of reactions are you getting?
from 10.
Yeah, just doing a daily activity, tracking what you're doing,
Oh, be accountable, consistent.
right?
So, sometimes I go over, most of the time I always go over,
Yeah,
but it keeps me consistent, keeps me accountable for myself.
okay,
It keeps me following up with my goals for sure.
right. So by doing this, and I know it hasn't been long that you've been doing it, but you're having conversations, you're having communication with people that you probably wouldn't have if you didn't track this and have this plan, right?
For sure.
Okay. Can you see that 90 days from now, you keep this up? Is there a transaction going to come?
Oh, for sure. There's people that have been saying, I'm looking to make a move later on in the year. Keep in touch. Can you follow up in a couple months?
Yeah.
Like that Brampton property
Right.
that we're gonna
Yeah.
be doing a CMA on.
Okay.
So there have been people that are like, look, I'm looking to make a move later on in the year, follow up in a couple months. I would love to receive market updates,
Right.
stuff like that.
But if you weren't doing this,
Oh, no.
you wouldn't have those opportunities.
For sure.
So that's what I want today to be about, is get rid of the stinking thinking. Make sure you're waking up positive. Make sure you have a daily plan. Okay, and understand it's the process of doing the daily stuff. The deals are going to come. But if you don't have that consistency of doing the daily tasks, it's not going to happen. Okay, but yeah, there's a lot of stinking thinking. Over 10,000 ends have happened already this month. There's no reason why you can't be one of those or two of those. Okay. Any questions, any thoughts? open discussion, anything I can address while I'm here. We have vision boards that we're doing on Monday. Vision board is very, very important. I'm a big believer. I've been using them for years. Michelle's a big, big believer now because two of the big items on her board that she did last year happened. So one is happening today. She bought a house, so it's closing today.
Yeah.
So that was,
Wellington?
right? Oakville freehold townhouse. So,
Thank you.
so two big things. She wanted a new vehicle. She got that. She wanted to buy a property. Didn't know how she was gonna do either of them a year ago. Both of them were on her.
Sunglasses.
And the
Oh.
sunglasses, yes.
So, right, so. Vision boards is no different than helping your mindset. Okay? Anybody got a hot new listing you want to talk about? What's going on in your neighborhood? Steve mentioned Ottawa's busy, so, thank you for letting us know that. You've heard what's going on with Nancy. Yeah, Julia?
So probably not what you want to hear, but there's going to be a bunch of elections coming up, and there's a lot of people looking for campaign offices all over Ontario and Canada. So if you have any empty commercial spaces, you could get a bit of cash in the door for a couple months. And
Okay.
if you have a space, reach out to me and I can hook you up with whoever the team is. I've been
Okay.
doing a lot of that for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Which is great because I'm meeting lots of people. I've been seeing developers. I've been doing all of that, but they're very hard to find.
How big a space do they normally take?
So a provincial riding, each party would probably take one space themselves.
Okay.
So they probably only need a 2-month lease, maybe 3 months. It really depends when the election is being called.
Okay.
But they come with really good insurance because they have to use specialty insurance company, which all the parties make them have. With Rhodes and Williams. They move in. They really aren't that fussy. The federal side needs to be wheelchair accessible bathrooms, so no bathrooms in the basement, but sometimes they're able to overlook things if it's in a mall. And they like street facing so they can put signs out for visibility. And the federal party will probably be about the same, and it may be on the heels of a provincial. So if you rent out for the provincial, then you could get another short lease for the federal if something's sitting empty.
All right, so now, I didn't, I had people approach us with some of the locations we had in other elections, but I wasn't aware of the bathroom requirement, but that makes sense, so.
Federally, it's a requirement that they need to be able to get into the building, like with a stopgap, or not have to go downstairs to go to a bathroom, but.
Okay,
That's the.
super.
Pyramid.
Right, so if anybody out there has any type of, any of your clients, right? I'd be reaching out to any of your commercial clients that have space and just say, hey, there might be an opportunity here, and they're gonna pay. So like, even if you got a vacant space, you get income for 2 or 3 months. Right.
If they win, it could be that either the provincial or the federal government becomes your landlord, your tenant, so that's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. Thank you for sharing that. That's an opportunity right there,
Massive opportunity.
right? So great opportunity there. Thank you. Any other thoughts, questions? Nope. Anything from your chat box there? Okay. So please look for those affirmations. When are you starting to put them up?
They started this morning.
Oh, they started this morning. Okay. I guess I didn't check my socials. Right? But so look for those, and by all means, please, if you feel that you are struggling in any way with mindset, reach out to us, okay? As we'll figure a plan that'll keep you thinking in the positive way, but understand what you do today and you need to do it consistently, in this business, it's 90 days out. Okay, so if you now decide, okay, I'm gonna start doing this 10-10-10, it's, you gotta be consistent, and 90 days, all of a sudden, you're gonna start going, well, I don't know where this client came from. Well, I can tell you where it came from. It came because you started working 90 days ago.
Two things, sorry. One, thank you for the message, Julia. Julia says Nasir has been sending me positive daily thoughts. Thanks, my friend.
Oh, that's great.
And Nancy, do you want to go?
Yeah, I just really quickly, I don't want this to blow up into a huge discussion. I just want a general consensus, Realm or Matrix? What's the deal?
Okay, Realm or Matrix?
Realm.
We're getting used to it.
Everybody here at the table?
Realm, the Matrix is the same as the old one. The info's not there in the new one. So go Realm.
Okay, so in Treb, you have the option of Realm or
Steve
Matrix,
is still debating.
right? So is there any Treb members here? Because you have the option, right, of Realm or Matrix. Which one to use?
Does
right.
anybody know how to use them?
I'm using
Sorry,
Realm.
I'm just kidding.
I'm using Realm. I hated it in the beginning, but I'm liking it now. The client side of it is much better than it used to be, and I'm finding that my prospects are using it. I can see them log in 5 times a day. Some of them.
Yeah.
I can see what they're looking at. It's great. And I know you can do that on Matrix, but I'm liking this one a lot better than it was. They're improving it all the time. I expect there's some other things coming down the pipe. I find it a little bit wooden, but trying to figure certain things out, and I forget the process sometimes, like setting up a drip, like an area drip. Every time I do it, I forget where to start. It's not intuitive on that, but write it down and you'll be fine. I understand they're going to change that part too. So.
Hey, Julia, any hesitation from your clients registering for the Realm? Because Matrix, they didn't have to register for it, but Realm, they kind of do. And I'm finding some hesitation there.
So in Toronto, there's a lot of people that use condos.ca and they use House Sigma and stuff like that. What I say to them is, all of these platforms that you use are mostly realtors trying to get your business, and they get your data when you sign up with them to use their apps. You sign up for this app, I get your data. I'm the only one that's getting this, and you're not going to land on anybody else's list. Boy, they really like that. And a lot of them have said, yeah, some guy just reached out to me about a property. I don't even know why. And I said, because it probably came up in your feed on condos.ca. And that's exactly it. So there's your story. It's a good story to tell because people don't like being watched online, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I'm telling my buyer clients, I send you a link to Realm, it's me, register.
Yeah.
But even then, they're kind of, well, I don't know what to sign up for another app. You know?
Yeah. So, and then there's realtor.ca doesn't always have the full data. They get better data out of Realm. So, things like number of bathrooms are sometimes hidden, parking is hidden on realtor.ca. So they're liking what they see more. And they're finding it easy to use.
Thank you.
Okay, good
Good to
input.
know.
By the way, those numbers that I shared with you earlier, they are 12% of those transactions happened on Matrix. On ITSO. That gives you an idea of how big PropTex has done in Ontario right now.
Makes
Okay.
a lot of sense. 90% of the boards are on PropTech, so the number should
Exactly.
equal
Okay.
out.
So,
Yeah.
so it is the way that I believe you're going to start seeing. I'm not going to speak for the boards that are still on Matrix only. On ITSO, but I'm going to suggest that over time, you're going to see that transition over to, hopefully we get to where it's one MLS. Okay. Anything else before we wrap up?
Thing for me.
Yes.
For all my friends that can't make it into the office because you're up north, you're in Ottawa, wherever you are, on Monday for the Vision Board Day, we are going to be streaming Scott's opening remarks to you guys, have you participate, and then I'm gonna put you guys up on the TV so we can see you, you can see us. You guys will have to get your own materials and stuff like that. But if you want to participate, this will be a way that you can kind of be with us on your own. For anyone that's coming into the office, all of the materials are being provided for you by us and lunch is included. So, yay!
And for anybody that's trying to figure out where you actually get the board itself, we are big spenders on these boards. Dollarama. Dollarama has them. Just go into their section there. Yeah, so that's where we get them. All right, so we look forward to that on Monday. And then anything else, but we are gonna, we're gonna do these sessions every Wednesday.
Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Okay, so if you have topics you want covered, just send them out to Michelle or myself beforehand, and I'll make sure I can do the research before. And it could be anything on what's going on, but please, positive mindset, communicate with people. There's business happening out there. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You
You too.
You too.
Thanks, Pete. Have a good day.